on Mars and on Nibiru. The rays that came from there could seek the heart of all lands. His eyes explored all the lands, and it was impossible for an approach that could not be seen from his black satellite, an all-seeing eye. From the top of the chamber, Enlil studied everything and watched everyone and everything. He studied the secrets of the sun and the moon and recorded them in secret formulas. He improved the celestial zenith and fixed the 12 houses, and with the 12 emblems he marked the family of the sun. The tablets of destinies gleamed in their royal abode, while the class of us worked very hard. The earth's cycles left them astonished, and the portions of the healing elixir were given to them in small quantities. In Eden, the Anunnaki were weary. In the Abzu, the work was strenuous. The Igigi on Mars complained constantly, and by Anu's command, Anzu, the commander of Mars, was received on Earth. Enki and Enlil might reveal to him the Abzu and the secrets of the heaven-earth link on Nibiru Ki. Anzu defended the Igigi of Mars, who asked for a rest on Earth whenever spaceships went back and forth between Earth and Mars. Received in Enlil's chamber, Anzu intended to steal the tablets of destiny. He was a prince among princes and had promised relief to the Igigi. Enlil left the shrine and Anzu remained at the entrance without suspicion. Then Anzu seized the tablets of destinies and departed from the celestial chamber towards the landing place, where the Igigi had gathered, awaiting his return to declare Anzu the king of the earth and Mars. And from the top of the chamber, Enlil, perceiving the theft and afflicted with treachery, he spoke angry words to Enki, questioning about Anzu on Nibiru Ki. The Anunnaki seek the words of Anu, the order tablets of destiny. But Anzu, in possession of the tablets, was invincible. Despite this, Ninurta stood ready to fight and recover what was rightfully his father's. Javelins were hurled at Anzu, but they missed. Arrows were launched, but they also missed him. So a mighty weapon was prepared, a Tilu missile. The instruction was to approach, and when they were united, Ninurta and Anzu wing to wing, the missile would be launched, creating a whirlwind and a storm of dust. And then, like a ball of fire, Anzu fell. The earth shook, the heavens shook. Ninurta took the tablets of destiny and made Anzu his prisoner. Quickly, Ninurta was applauded at the landing place, and the Anunnaki who had been taken prisoner had been freed. And before the judges, Anzu was sentenced to death. Then the fluid of life of Anzu had extinguished. Ninurta said, "Leave your body to the vultures." And Enki answered, "Lead Anzu's body to Mars, that it may be buried beside Alalu. The same ancestral seed they both possess. Let Marduk, my son, conduct Anzu's corpse and let him abide there, that he may become Mars' new commander." Meanwhile, on Earth, Enki and Enlil discussed changes to avoid confusion. Ninurta, who was an expert in the interiorities of planets, suggested a new city of metal for new shipments to be made. Thus, those who were weary could return to Nibiru and new Anunnaki could come to Earth in their place. In this way, in the Eden, new construction began, and it took 3 Shahs until the city of Bad Tibira be created. Ninurta, who had given the suggestion, was the first commander. In this way, the flow of gold to Nibiru was easier and faster. Those who were on Earth and Mars, many of them returned to Nibiru. Alalga, Abgal and Nungal were among them. Received as heroes, the inhabitants of the planet Nibiru, especially the younger ones, wanted to participate in the missions and mainly wanted the emotions. They did not know what great calamities there were on Earth, on Mars, and in the heavens. In Bad Tibira, gold was smelted and refined, and then sent to Mars in spaceships. Pure gold was carried from Lahmu to Mars in celestial ships. And as Ninurta had conceived, gold flowed from Abzu to Nibiru. However, what was not noticed was the malaise of the newly arrived Anunnaki. Enki turned his attention to other matters in the Abzu and could not see what was happening. So Enki created a new complex called the House of Life and invited his son Ningish Zida, who is known in the Egyptian pantheon as Thoth, to work with him. Enki was especially curious of some living creatures that lived among the tall trees and used their front paws as hands. It was in the tall grasses of the steppes that strange creatures could be seen, that seemed to walk upright. The secrets of life and death were carefully studied by Enki. The House of Life was in the Abzu, and it had all manner of carefully crafted tools and equipment. Enki was absolutely enchanted and absorbed, fully occupied with his studies. And Ninurta in Bad Tibera was the first to notice a decrease in gold mining. Enlil sent Ninurta to the Abzu to find out what was happening. Ennugi, the chief officer, accompanied him on the excavations. He had heard the complaints of the Anunnaki Igigi with his own ears and had told Ninurta of all he'd heard. The work here is unbearable. Ninurta told the matter to Enki, who quickly called for Enlil. The Lord of Command, Enlil, arrived at the Abzu and settled in an abode near the excavations. That's when a group of Anunnaki workers attacked Ennugi, the chief officer of mines. They set fire on their tools and then approached Enlil's abode and home in protest in the middle of the late night in Adam's calendar modern-day South Africa. Kalkal, the gatekeeper, barred the door and summoned Nusku. Enlil Nusku called out to the Lord of Command from his bed and said, "My lord, we are surrounded. The Anunnaki workers are here. They protest against the heavy work. Enki and Ninurta were summoned on prompter device." "What is happening?" asked Enlil, waking up from deep sleep. "Who instigated this hostility?" Enlil asked the rebellion. In unison was answered, "We have all of us." Enlil relayed the events to Anu over holographic communication as well, and who quickly replied, "We need the gold. The work cannot stop." Enki pondered. "The work is too heavy, we all know it. The rebellion is not against Enlil, it is against the work." Ennugi, the chief mines officer, was freed and consulted. He said, "Since the heat on Earth increased, work is unbearable, intolerable." Ninurta said, "Let the rebels return to Nibiru, and may other Anunnaki come in their place." Enlil asked Enki, "Is it possible to create new tools for the Anunnaki to avoid the tunnels?" Enki said, "Call my son Ningishzida, also known as Thoth. I must speak with him." And after they had talked, Enki announced, "There is a possible solution. Let's create a primitive worker. Lulu will be its name. And may this new being carry the hard work of the Anunnaki on its shoulders." Anunnaki royals were speechless. Who had thought of a similar solution? Would anyone have thought? And so they called to Ninhursag, who was skilled in medicine, genetics, and aid. Ninhursag answered, "I never heard of anything like it. All beings descend from a seed, each being developed throughout eternity from another as hybrids of another species. None came from nothing." Enki smiled and said, "How right you are, my sister." Then Enki said, "I must reveal a secret of the Abzu. The being we need already exists. All we need to do is brand it with our essence, with the essence of Nibiru. Let me create the Lulu, the primitive worker, and we will create it in our liking and image," Enki said. End of Tablet 5.